And I can think of no one better to get into this amazing topic with than my friend Thomas Sheridan, who's a brilliant mind and incredibly well-versed, not only intellectually, but in practice himself. So I'm super excited about this one. I really hope you all enjoy it. Let's get into it. I think a good place to start, as we typically do, is with definitions. So, the viewers have heard my take on this, but I would love to hear, how would you define magic?
Magic is the ability to hack the operating software of this universe in order to create change based on one's will. It is a surprisingly powerful experience. It's reality, but it can begin with something as simple as artwork. It can be something rooted in everything from the art of writing to the art of speech to the visual arts, but it provides a means to make reality optional, and you can modify your engagement with the five sense reality. As what Crowley said, any magical process that isn't uniquely concerned with the development of the self is black magic. Wow, is there a lot of truth to that? There really is.
Book 1, called Partitiones Scientiarum, which means partitions of sciences in Latin, which is another name for the De Dignitate et Augmentis Scientiarum, is shown at the top of the three books on the right-hand sun pillar. I'm pointing to that now. And this is the sun pillar, the sun up there. And there's an enlargement of it. The double A cipher was first used in a headpiece printed in a book that was made specially for Francis Bacon when he went to France in 1576. This headpiece specifically shows the Gemini, which means twins, as being associated with the double A, the AA. And this is of primary importance.
So that was keeping me happy, and I had this strong sense of supernaturalism in me, but not towards magic until I heard about the chaos magic scene through a fanzine that I'd come across. And suddenly this concept of that magic could be just like music. You could have a punk rock version of magic, and that was chaos. And it was rooted in things like everything from, the emerging world of gaming back then to, music, to films, to literature. Everything could be used to invoke reality. So, I remember, I don't really like ceremonial magic, and I think there's a strong Abrahamic element to ceremonial magic. Now, if people are into it, that's their own business. I don't care. I mean, I've actually, I've known people in the Golden Dawn here. The Golden Dawn in Dublin, where I grew up, was a very big magical order, very powerful, and right in to the top of government and everything. It wasn't hidden or anything.
This whole Gemini Shakespearean mystery is something that has been happening over the last 4 centuries and was clearly designed to happen. It is a great mystery or sacred drama performed for our benefit, wherein the immortal author has sacrificed himself or themselves in order to resurrect and raise the mortal actor and the rest of us to immortality, the state of illumination wherein truth is revealed. Now, there's a third pillar. It's called Mahaboni. Mahaboni is the middle pillar, which in Solomon's temple is not represented by any pillar of cast bronze, but refers to the middle way. The middle way. The way to walk through the temple in perfect balance and harmony, uniting the meaning of the twin pillars, Boaz and Jachin, in oneself as one does so. Uniting the meaning of the twin pillars, Boaz and Jachin, uniting the meaning of the twin pillars, Boaz and Jachin, in oneself as one does so.
So I'd say, if I was anything, I'm probably a chaos pagan. That's probably the way I'd put it. That chaos magic probably gave me a kind of a lexicon or a key to what maybe the magic of our pagan ancestors was. It was less ceremonial because it was pre-Abrahamic, but it was more kind of theatrical and active, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think so. At least just on the surface. I'm curious, how would you define what makes chaos magic that, and how does that distinguish itself from um, the ceremonial aspect that you're talking about?
Well, my own theory on chaos magic and modern forms of magic is simply because there's more energy available today than there was in Victorian times. So, for instance, like everything has a potential. Everything from that TV behind you to the bookshelf with the books on it to you might have everything. You look at the room that you're in now, right? Now you compare that to how someone lived in Victorian times, where they might have had candlelight, maybe gaslight, dimly lit. For instance, so the need to generate energy was much more difficult. So it was built up through ceremonial magic. So built up through the concept of ritual. So you'd have these complex Golden Dawn or OTO type rituals coming out of Germany, which were complex, ceremonial, ritualistic, and theatrical, involving all the costumes and everything, because they were trying to attain energy. Well, now energy is everywhere. You can go to you can go see a band in a stadium with 20,000 people. The charge is ferocious. You can do things that I used to do, like go on a roller coaster or some kind of like terrifying fairground and hold the sigil in front of me. And as the thing was going over the top and everyone was screaming, you can actually concentrate all that psychic energy into the sigil. You can go on, you can take an airplane, I'll give you an example, right? I learned how to use airplanes as magic wands. I know that sounds weird, but when an aircraft is taken off, it's filled with tremendous amounts of psychic energy, not only from the power of the plane taking off and everything else, but also the wishes and desires and the feelings of the people on board. It creates a phenomenal sense of power. And there's always a risk of death. There's always that unprevailing risk that this plane is going to go down. Well, that's actually, you can actually concentrate that energy into a sigil as the plane is taking off, or something similar. Now, so that's you've got all that energy that wasn't available in Victorian times.
Letters IC render in simple cipher the numbers 93 or 93, which Francis Bacon gives as the age of St. John the Beloved when he died. And to quote him from his History of Life and Death, St. John, an apostle of our Saviour and a beloved disciple, lived 93 years. He was rightly denoted under the emblem of the eagle for his piercing sight into the divinity, and was a seraph among the apostles in respect of his burning love. St. John the Beloved, who is also known as St. John the Divine, is reputed to be the great seer of Revelation, the last book of the Holy Bible. And he is the patron saint of the Rose Cross degrees, the higher degrees of initiation, and the two freestanding bronze great pillars. Boaz, the left-hand pillar, associated with the northeast, and Yarkin, the right-hand pillar, associated with the southeast. Then the person entering the temple represented Sephira number 10, symbolizes the bride or Holy Grail, that's the human soul, the aim being to process up through the temple, passing midway between the two twin pillars, Boaz and Yarkin, and following the middle path, symbolizes the middle pillar, so as to be mystically married with the divine spirit in the Holy of Holies.
Became a means to tap into the super and hyper abundance of energy that we've had since, say, World War II, and tap into that. And that's why, the ability to capitalize and tap on this enormous amounts of energy that we have, and to just, without having to actually do all the work to get it. It's there. You can pick it like fruit from a tree, from a tree, from a tree, from a tree, from a tree. Let's go take it back right to the beginning. Hunting magic, the cave art. What did it show? It showed the fellas in the tribe hunting a buffalo. So they sat there in the deepest cave with some lights, and they painted the buffalo, and there's us there, and we're going to go after him. There might be a guy banging a drum. And guess what? It worked. In fact, we probably exist today in a modern civilization because of magic. In fact, we do. Because as soon as fire was discovered, what was the first thing they did after they learned how to cook their food and keep warm? Magic.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's profound. So magic was an integral part of our evolution and our survival as well.
Absolutely. I don't think we'd be here because it's the ultimate creative force. And hunting magic of our Paleolithic ancestors and Neolithic ancestors is the reason why the humans were actually able to take, even since the beginning of Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, the proto-human realizes that the bone can be used as a weapon, and they defeat the other group of proto-humans, and at the end, he throws the bone up and it turns into a spaceship. I mean, that is, Kubrick was showing us that's where the start of getting into space came from, when early man picked that made that first tool or weapon.
Yes.
It wasn't a bone on the ground, it was something that had potential. Ultimately, a wand in many ways, yeah.
True.
It means war, disturbances on your campus. This is typical. You'll find that men in the same society will take opposite positions in public. So you've got William Buckley, whom I call a House Conservatism member, but so is a man, for example, called Edwin Burt, who has a string of communist affiliations, which is about that long. And we'll get into this later. The method they use is that of the Hegelian dialectic. Thesis played against antithesis leads to a synthesis. In other words, for Hegel, for history to make progress, you have to have conflict. And when you look at the key people in the order, you will find that they generate conflict. So Bush and Harriman politically are conflicting. Coffin and Buckley, although part of the same order, are in public conflicting with one another because conflict leads to the new synthesis. As individuals and working together. They want to acquire power above all.
Power?
Political power. As you look at their actions, the political power is to bring about what they call a new world order, which is a one world.
Banana Republic, Septica, screaming in the suffering sea, sounds like crime. Everywhere I go, yeah, everywhere I see, like a blue uniform, the leaves and breeze. And now what do you want now, while you're sleeping with your heart? Sharing beds with history, it's like a Lincoln running sauce. 40 shades of green, yeah, 60 shades of red. Heroes going cheap these days, price a bullet in the head. Banana Republic, Septica, suffering the screaming sea, sounds like God. It's a kind of magic, 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 magic.